The dispute on our boundary, 98% of which has been resolved and strip maps have been signed, only relates to Kalapani and Susta. And this had been accepted by both sides. Now, what happened in 2020 is that Nepal suddenly enlarged its claims to include Lipulekh Pass and Limpiadhura. And this was a claim that went back to the year 1817, soon after the Sogoli Treaty was signed. And this claim had been rejected by the British Governor General, and it had not been raised in 200 years. So now suddenly we are faced with the situation where Nepal has a much larger claim on our territory. Not only that, Nepal has also changed its border understanding and agreement with China. Because now, according to the new Nepalese claim, the Nepal-China border has shifted westwards of the present point. So this is something that India cannot accept, because unilaterally something has been done which has not been done for 200 years, and no justification has been given for this claim. That's point number one. Point number two, if you look at it from India's perspective, today you say this is our territory and you make a new map and say this is our territory, and then you say that, okay, now I'm prepared to negotiate with you. Why should we accept that? It's like some countries, for instance, in the South China Sea, you take over some islands, you develop some bases and you put some people over there and say, you know, this is ours, now we are prepared to discuss it. So you can't change the status quo and then expand your claims and then say you're willing to discuss it. Thirdly, Nepal has gone for a constitutional amendment, which means 2/3 of your parliament has supported the new claim. You have changed your map. Now, with what authority will a Nepalese delegation discuss with India? Because we don't know whether what your delegation discusses will be endorsed by your parliament. So unless there is some sort of commitment or guarantee from your parliament that your delegation has full powers and what your delegation agrees will be endorsed through a constitutional amendment by the parliament, how do we move forward? So I'm afraid the boundary issue has got very entangled and very complicated, and I don't see how this is going to be resolved in the near future. Of course, eventually it has to be resolved through dialogue and negotiations, but right now I think it's become very complicated.